And we're going to find out more about why MSU is taking part in 2 ribbon cutting ceremonies for school learning gardens coming up this Friday. Joining us on Good Things to share a little more is Mr. Cory Gallo. He is a landscape architect professor in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, and you helped build those gardens. So welcome, Cory.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you here. It's also good to see that there are going to be some learning gardenings across the state of Mississippi. We all know that gardening can be a great classroom for many good life lessons. So tell us how these gardens came about.
Yeah, I'd love to start by just saying how important it is for kids to get outside. And some research is really critical in how important that is. You know, kids spend on average about 12 hours a week watching television, but only about half an hour a week actually outside in activities. And there's a lot of research supporting that kids spending programmed class time outside score better on test scores, eat more healthy vegetables, and make better health choices about what they eat. They improve physical activity. They have improved psychological health, especially so important in times like this. And so really great, having classrooms that are outside, so important for kids rather than sitting inside the entire day. So briefly, this series of projects started a few years ago where we, as a group of departments in architecture, landscape architecture, interior design, sought out to, you might say, build a better mousetrap, build a better type of learning garden outside. And what we found was treating them as much like gardens as they're like classrooms. So we use the term living room, where there's plenty of seating, there's much less growing space so that teachers don't have as much to maintain, but they could really allow a class to go outside and use the space to teach math or teach science or teach English in an outdoor environment with plenty of seating. And also they can learn about nutrition, health, and the environment all in the same space. So we've actually done 3 of these now. 2 of them will have a ribbon cutting this Friday. The first is at Galloway Elementary in Jackson. It's a K through 5th grade school. And then the second is at the MSU Starkville Partnership School here in Starkville. And the third is at Leland School Park in Leland. So they're kind of spread all over the state, and we have 3 of them that, due to COVID and how that's worked, they're getting to use for the first time all at the same time this year. So we're really excited to see that.
Even though there will be a smaller area for growing something, Cory, will they still have the opportunity to maybe grow some fresh fruits or vegetables to be able then to take back into the classroom and try, even if it's not maybe like a full-scale, vegetable garden?
Yeah, and I think the key to that is we're not to grow to produce, but to grow to learn. And so one child planting that one seed that they get that one tomato from or cucumber, whatever that is, that sort of experience from one step along the process is really what it's about. And a lot of research shows that a lot of gardens that are put in, teachers just can't maintain in small budgets and stuff like that. And so that's why that's like that. The school here by us at the partnership school actually has a classroom inside that's a kitchen classroom. And so taking that experience back to food prep as well. So I think that's the if you can imagine seed to table in a classroom, and that full experience is definitely the ideal setup.
Well, I know as a dietitian for sure, Cory, anytime a child has vested interest in growing the produce or the vegetable, they may not be lifelong lovers of that particular food, but they are much more willing to at least give it a try, right? Parents know the struggle is real all the time just to get kids to try new foods, particularly fruits and vegetables. But even if they just pulled the weeds or went and picked it from, that's already been done, they feel like, oh, now that's mine. And so I have to give it a try. So this definitely has the stage to set the stage for them to get more variety and at least to try.
Absolutely. And the earlier they can have that positive experience, the better. When they find out they don't like spinach, we're lost in that process. But if kids have that early positive experience of touching and growing and tasting something that they're proud of, it's more likely to carry forward. Now, and research is still, doesn't they show a positive correlation between that early age of testing. And the trick is to keep doing that over, not just in grade school, right, up until middle school and high school. And you start to see high school students in older classrooms start to do that as well. So we're excited that we have both an elementary and and two middle schools, so that kids can have at different ages, different types of experiences. And that relates to the classroom. What you learn in a science class in first grade is very different than what you might learn about the same process in sixth grade or seventh grade. And so, as an opportunity for teachers, another thing we're trying to do, we're working with some other folks on campus related to curricula and helping Leland and the partnership school here on their curricula and their classrooms, so they can incorporate this into science classes and other programs, so that it's not just, hey, Mrs. or Mr. Teacher, could you fit this into your very busy day and everything you get done, so it actually seamlessly fits into the stuff they have to teach at the same time.
I would be interested too, Cory, to see how many teachers are excited about different classroom locations or having the option to take the classroom outside. I feel like, we all know that we just sometimes step outside. It changes our entire perspective or our mood or gives us some fresh air. And I just like to, the gardening part's great, but then also shifting it up where kids get to spend some time inside, even if they're still sitting, they're getting that vitamin D, they're getting just the outside environment. I just think gives teachers more tools in their toolbox to sort of keep things engaging and sort of keep things interesting for the kids.
Yeah, that vitamin in nature, right? So
that is.
I think that was, as kids, and that was one of definitely the underpinning ideas behind the space. Is there's a trend, and you have these trends throughout history of creating garden spaces. After World War II, whether victory gardens, during the Depression, they were food production, and those trends come back and around through history. And today, sort of combined with other environmental focused ideas, the idea, especially so important as obesity and childhood obesity, such a large challenge for our country, as our focus on nutrition and health and education. And so the garden as the idea was, there's this movement towards that. At the same time, we see that if it's not set up like a classroom where teachers can maintain it and organize it, it's just not used that well. And so along with that comes the opportunity just to kids get outside and have a class. And so two of the classrooms that we did have chalkboards outside. And so students can have kids line up, have a class discussion about anything outside, as long as it's not raining and not too hot. They can use that space just like they would inside. And I think so far in the teachers that we've talked to, for instance, at Leland, the principal there, Ms. Williams, was so excited to hear that. And she said all of our teachers have seen pictures before, they were able to use the space last semester. They're all lining up to use the space and are excited to bring out every class that they have out there to use the space. So that's exciting for us to hear that it's hopefully successful. We're actually going to do a study this year with a grad student on asking teachers across the school, those that are directly and indirectly engaged, how they used it and what they find worked and what could be better, as we kind of redefine and keep moving this idea ahead.
And I would love for you to share that research with us here on Good Things, Cory, because there's many chiming in saying kids learning about where their food comes from is important. Kids being outside more and just being able to get the wiggles out or get that vitamin D is important. So I feel like you're going to get the parents' buy-in for sure from this, as well as teachers. So if they're interested in bringing this concept to their school, is there a way to contact you or just figure out more or get in line or however that may be?
Well, I should say, the way these are done in our programs is that these are classes for us. And so there's three of us in faculty, Professor Hans Furman in architecture, Suzanne Powney in graphic design, that have done these together collaboratively across college and programs. And for students, we look at that for our own students and how to learn how to create a concept to implementation. So we do everyone a little bit differently for that standpoint. But we have an idea. We're not sure if it's going to happen, but we're hoping that eventually a company that sort of like makes greenhouses might pick this up as a product that they would be able to make and they could sell and distribute it. And so the idea is very simple. It uses troughs, watering troughs, and greenhouse structures to make this very dynamic vertical growing structure.
Well, I
So
think this
fairly
is pretty
simple.
cool. Wishing you the best of luck with your 2 ribbon cuttings this coming up Friday, Cory. Please keep us updated on all things that are going on with the project. I think it's nothing but good things. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, and glad to be here.
All righty, you guys stick with us. We've got more for you coming up next.